I just feel like a lot of people in today's society kind of use sex to fill a void. And it's not to say like women can't enjoy sex. I just think that we've kind of been lied to believe that like as women, there's power in just sleeping with a million people, or there's power in being able to hook up with someone and be physically intimate and shut off the spiritual and emotional side of yourself just to gain physical pleasure. I think that that's a lie that we've been told. What's good, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Oop, there's a siren. So today's video is going to be on a topic that I've honestly been avoiding for so long. I don't know. I think that like as young women, especially like in America and just like in the Western world, we've just been lied to. I think that our media exposes us to a lot of things that are not actually good for our psyche and has normalized a lot of things that I think honestly have caused a lot of harm emotionally to young women. For me personally, I have found on my journey, as I've just become more conscious and aware of what's good for me, what's not, how can I become, my dream person, build my dream life, have like healthy, amazing relationships. There's a lot of things that I feel like I've been taught that I've really had to do the work to unlearn and to understand. And I really want to talk about this. I talk about this obviously a lot on my channel in different avenues, but I think when it comes to dating, it's something that for me has been a little bit of a rougher journey. And I just want to share with you guys some things that I have learned in my 25 years of living when it comes to dating, love life, hookup culture, sex, just all the things that I've been learning. And I'm gonna say I have been putting off making this video for so long just because I just don't want to come across as judgmental or like I'm on a high horse or I know more than anybody, because I definitely don't. Like all my videos, I will always tell you guys, I'm just sharing what I'm learning as I go, and the things that I believe to be true about the world are just a reflection of my own personal reality. So maybe some of this will align with you and resonate, maybe it won't, and that's okay. You guys can feel free to share your thoughts and what you disagree with, what you agree with in the comments down below. I love having like healthy discussions about these things. So that's like my little disclaimer. I don't know why I'm so nervous making this video. Okay. I think that honestly, hookup culture is extremely damaging to the spirit. Like if I could go back in time and tell my younger self one thing, it would be, bitch, do not participate in hookup culture. It's not for you. I will tell you guys from personal experience, for the longest time, I thought hookup culture was just the norm. I just thought it was like everybody's doing this. This is what you do. Like if you are like, yeah, there's some people who wait till marriage and maybe are a little bit like more sensitive and sex is just a bigger deal to them. But for so long, I was like, oh, sex is just something that should be celebrated, right? Like we are as women, I think now in like modern times, we're so sexually liberated and we celebrate that. And I think that's such an amazing thing. Like you guys, if you go on my Instagram, y'all know I think women should wear what they want. I feel like every woman should be doing what the fuck they want to be doing with their body. Let me just preface this by saying that. But I will say one thing that I wish that I could go back in time and tell my younger self is that hookup culture is not good for you. It's actually extremely damaging to your psyche, to your mental, to your spiritual well-being as a woman. And I can't imagine this is probably the same for men, even though I think it's a little bit different. I think for most people, hookup culture is just, I don't know why it's so normalized. Like, I don't think that it's good for us. If you want to have a healthy dating life and attract like really true, deep, meaningful relationships into your life, I think one of the number one things that you can do, and if you just want to have a really healthy and loving relationship with yourself, I think one of the number one things that you could be doing is to be just a little bit more selective about who you allow into your space and who you allow into your body, like who you allow into your physical, like when you think about it, we are such divine beings. And I know that sounds like very woo-woo to some people and like annoying, but like it's true. Like we are all divine beings. And we, like, if you're very spiritually in tune with yourself, if you're very conscious, you may recognize that like even just some people being in your space, in your energy field, like when you're hanging out with people, like you can sense and feel that other person's energy, right? And so I think the more that I've learned that on my journey, the more I've recognized that like, okay, who I'm spending time with, just period, friends, family, it's important to kind of recognize like how people are affecting my energy, but also it's like having people in my space that affects how I feel as well. Like I don't just allow anybody to just come into my apartment and come hang out. And so as a woman, as I've started to get older, I've started to realize like, why would I not have that same selectiveness with who I am intimate with? Like when you really, really, truly think about it, being intimate with someone in any way is like one of the most like that's one of the most like intense ways that you can connect with somebody. I think that if you allow the wrong person into your energy field, if you're intimate with the wrong person, or if you're just constantly being intimate with different people without actually really truly knowing them and feeling safe and comfortable with them, it can just really disrupt your system. I don't know, I just feel like the more you really fall in love with yourself, the more you kind of are just seeing your body as the temple that it is. And I think that as women, especially, this is my theory, okay? I think that in the Western world, sex has become so normalized because men benefit from women thinking that we are liberated and free by just sleeping with anybody. And so it just makes it easier for men to access women and take advantage of women. And it's not to say like women can't enjoy sex. I just think that we've kind of been lied to believe that like as women, there's power in just sleeping with a million people, or there's power in being able to hook up with someone and be physically intimate and shut off the spiritual and emotional side of yourself just to gain physical pleasure. I think that that's a lie that we've been told, especially like in the Black community. Like when you look at like our rappers and just the women who they make famous, I think that Black women tend to just be hypersexualized so much more than white women in the media. I just feel like a lot of people in today's society kind of use sex to fill a void. And so a lot of people go and seek this like lustful, like getting their I think there's a huge difference between getting your physical needs met with just anybody or just someone who kind of fits the bill, whatever, versus like actually participating in sex in like a loving way with someone that you actually feel emotionally safe with, that has actually given you the things that you need to just feel emotionally connected with them. Like I think there's a huge difference between those two things. So like again, I don't think that sex is just like a bad thing. I don't think that you have to like wait till marriage or whatever. Like I just think that at the end of the day, if you're participating in hookup culture in a way that's just like, oh, I need to get my physical needs met, then 9 times out of 10, it's because there's some kind of void that you are not filling with yourself emotionally. You don't know how to be alone. You don't know how to, you feel like you get validation from sex. You feel like you get validation from the opposite sex and just getting attention. This happens with both men and women. And I think that honestly, it's more harmful for women than it even is for men, because at the end of the day, women, we're wired differently. Like we have hormones that literally make it so that we are more likely to get emotionally connected and attached to someone during sex. Like our bodies, your womb is sensitive. Like your womb literally is like a portal into your spiritual self. And so when you're just allowing someone else into your body, at the end of the day, it's going to throw you off. It can throw you off physically. Like women, when you think about it, when women are participating in hookup culture, they're just more likely to have infections or whatever. Like women are the receivers of a man's energy. When you think about biology and just how things work in these like heterosexual relationships, women have more physical issues and just more sensitivities when it comes to sex. It's a lot deeper than just, oh, how do you feel emotionally? It's a lot deeper than how do you feel spiritually. It's also a physical thing as well. We can also recognize that like as women, the more you're participating in hookup culture, the more issues you tend to have with the opposite sex. I can bet you if you're participating in hookup culture that you trust men less, because usually what happens for a lot of women is they sleep with men too early. They sleep with them when they think that like, oh, if I sleep with him, then maybe he'll give me this, or maybe he'll treat me this way. Then we'll start going on dates. Then he'll start giving me the things that I want. And even if you're convincing yourself that you don't even want those things, a lot of times for women, again, because of the way that we're wired, sex is going to release oxytocin. It's going to release these things that makes you feel more emotionally connected with someone than you actually are. For like a lot of women, it's not like, oh, I'm just hooking up with everybody, whatever. It's usually just like 1 or 2 guys, or like you're like in a situationship, right? And you're wondering, why is he not actually treating me the way that I want him to treat me? Why does he not actually want to be in a relationship? Why does he only seem to respect me to a certain extent. You question these things, but you don't understand that the way men are wired is different than the way women are wired. Men are more, when you think about feminine and masculine energy, men are much more of this earth. They're much more of the physical realm. They're much more of just physical. When you think about the physical 3D reality, men are much more rooted in that reality. Women may notice just over cultures, over history, right? When you look at different civilizations, women are typically the ones who are more connected to a higher power. They're more connected. They're like the witches, right? When you think about women and our just the feminine energy, it's a lot more spiritually in tune. And so when you think about this, right? When you think about the relationship between men and women, men are more like, they will have sex with almost anything, right? We know this. And so when you think about it, if you, again, as a woman, sleep with a man because he bought you a drink that night or because he took you on one date, that's signaling in a man's brain that that's all he needs to do in order to gain you, because you as a woman are the prize. And men are wired to chase, right? They want to receive the prize. And honestly, at the end of the day, I know people don't want to hear it. It sounds really old school, whatever, but like the ultimate prize for men is sex. Like it's your body. Like that's just the truth. At the end of the day, back in the day, men would have to go and slay dragons and go fight, they'd have to go to someone's family and talk to them and present documents. And like other cultures still to this day, it's a way, 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 way bigger deal for a man to even be able to spend time with a woman alone. But in the West, we have normalized these things so much to a point where men can access women and can get things so much easier. So of course, when we look at the dating market and we look at the fact that why don't men treat women the same anymore? Why don't men like women as much as they used to, as much as they used to? It's because women are more available to men. Like at the end of the day, women control the dating market. If all women decided today that they're not going to participate in hookup culture, I can bet you all men would suddenly be treating women like queens. It would, the entire world would change. The world would probably be healed, honestly. Literally in other countries, when you look at I think it's Korea, a lot of women are just not, they're literally protesting the system by not sleeping with men and by not having babies. And that's literally changing society there. It's a big, big, big deal. Because again, women at the end of the day, we hold so much power. We control how this entire world operates. But because of the patriarchy, we've literally forgotten about our power, right? We've forgotten who it is that we are. We've forgotten our worth. Even when men participate in hookup culture, they're damaging themselves as well, because then they don't trust women as much. They don't see the value in women as much. It's literally damaged the way that they see the opposite sex. We've been led to believe that it's normal to hate each other, but we operate our best when we come together and when we actually love each other. The relationship between men, we need each other at the end of the day. I think we've hypersexualized women. Men have mental health issues. They don't feel like they can even provide. Men struggle with their own things, right? And this has created just this very, very, very unhealthy relationship between men and women. And I think that it's honestly purposeful. And I think that it damages, again, especially communities of color, way more than it damages other communities. There's a lot of people in this generation who literally are struggling to love. They're struggling to trust other people. They're struggling with their own limiting beliefs. So they don't even know how to invite love into their own life. We think that we don't need each other. We're listening to too much Future, too much Drake, whatever. And then it gets to a point where it's oh, I'm whatever age. And then you realize actually I'm lonely, or actually, maybe I do want love in my life. Everybody does, but I think a lot of people have just become desensitized. And the media, the porn industry, just a lot of things have really, really, really done a number on our generation. I'm just saying this all to say that if you find, I think one of the easiest fixes that you can make when it comes to all of this and just healing your relationship with love and attracting more love into your life is raising your standards and not just allowing anybody into your space, and not just allowing anybody into your energy and your body, right? Again, just being selective about, just being more selective. I don't know. I think it really, really, really makes a huge difference. If you find yourself looking at your dating life or looking at the opposite sex and you're what's going on? Why am I not being treated the way that I want to be treated? It's because your standards are low. It's because a man bought you a drink and you think that that's enough to give him, to sleep with him. And then that's what he thinks is oh, that's all she needs. If you really become aware of and conscious of your power and your worth, you'll recognize that there are men out there who would literally pay millions of dollars to buy you the nicest ring, to buy you the nicest house, to buy you. And it's not even about gaining things materially, but there are men who would put their lives on the line, who would literally wait a year if they need to in order to even access you in any kind of way physically. We can admit a lot of women, like, we want romance. We want to be, we want to be treated a certain way. Like, a lot of women who participate in hookup culture, and they act like, oh, I don't care about the material things. I don't need a man to buy me this. I don't need a man to buy, I can take care of myself, whatever. Like, I'm not like these other girls. But at the end of the day, those are the same women who complain that they're not getting treated and wined and dined and romanced the way that they want to by men. But it's because, again, they've forgotten their own worth. And I honestly am of the belief that, like, if someone is even going so far as to sell their body for sex, at least they know how much they are worth, compared to someone who's just giving it up for free because a man bought them a drink. And I think I've seen someone else say that too on YouTube before. I think it was Mina, the universe guru. I will say her video, I'm going to link it down below. It's like it's a lot longer than this is going to be. But that video, I kid you not, I think I cried. Like, I had to pause it and like I cried watching it because everything she said in that video, she's older, she's married. She has like a lot more wisdom than I do when it comes to this stuff. But that video really, really, really woke me up to this truth and really just changed the way in which I see the world, honestly. Like, I'm going to link it down below so you guys can go check it out. So yeah, I'm just saying this all to say that, like, if you're a woman and you are just trying to figure out your dating life and just try to figure out how to navigate this world as a single woman and how to level up and just be your best self and, all the things, one thing that I really, really, really encourage you to think about and to look at is your relationship with sex and the opposite sex. If you've been in a situation, this is the thing, I'm speaking from a place of like complete understanding, because I've been in a position before where it's just like I'm being physical with somebody and we talk, but like I don't know if he's talking to other people. I don't know if he's going to take me on a date. I don't know if he's going to even text me back that day. Like, I know what it's like to be in that position. If you're finding that sex is like kind of the thing that you kind of go to in order to feel validated or in order to feel less lonely or whatever, like, I promise you, again, like, there's no shame in that. But I just really, really, really encourage you to maybe sit with yourself and ask yourself why that is. Are you maybe scared to be alone? Do you struggle with self-worth? I just really encourage you to kind of sit with yourself and just remember that you're worthy of so much. So you don't, like, whenever you want, you can always just make the choice to say, you know what, my standards are higher now. Like, I actually want someone to like properly court me. I want someone to actually like go the extra mile and romance me and do these things before I even consider being intimate with them. You should feel emotionally safe with somebody when you're being intimate with them. You shouldn't feel like weird afterwards. You shouldn't feel like empty or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm not here to preach anything to anybody. Live your life how you want to live it, but I just really, really encourage you just to remember your worth and just to remember that, you can have whatever it is that you want, but it does start with you making the decisions to raise your standards. And it does start with you learning how to say no and learning how to have more boundaries with yourself and protect your own heart, protect your own body from just anybody accessing it. You're worth that, right? You're worth setting those boundaries. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful, you guys. I know this is very all over the place, so I apologize, but I hope that this kind of resonated in some way. I've been celibate now for like over a year, and I never, ever, ever, ever thought that I would be this person. I never thought that I'd be saying this, but I can tell you, like, honestly, it like, I feel fine. Like, I literally feel fine. I feel like I'm happy. I love being by myself. I feel like, I don't know, like, I thought it was a bigger deal until I like started just like saying like, oh, and it's not that like I even like, oh, like I need someone to do all these things before I sleep with them. I literally just feel like I'm just comfortable with myself, and I've connected with people. Yes, I've been on dates and stuff, but it's just like, I don't feel like I'm just in this rush to just sleep with someone. I don't need to be just in this rush, and it feels really, really, really good. So yeah, I hope this was helpful in some way, you guys. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys have any questions or if you agree with what I'm saying, if you disagree. Also, let me know if there's anything else that you guys want me to touch on that I talked about in today's video. And yeah, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having an amazing week, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.